pretty much everyone I know who wants to have sex is interested in learning how to have great sex. Having great sex is a combination of physical, emotional, and psychological factors, most of which actually start outside of the bedroom. If you're interested in learning a few quick and dirty tips, then stay tuned for more. Welcome back to Savvy Psychologist. I'm your host, Dr. Monica Johnson. Every week on this show, I'll help you face life's challenges with evidence-based approaches, a sympathetic ear, and zero judgment. Today, I'm going to review a few fundamental strategies that you can use to improve your sex life. The first one I want to mention is communication. So to be clear, talking for hours with our love interest isn't just for our junior high years. It's also for our adult times as well. I meet so many people and couples who think they should have already figured out their sexuality or that sex should happen naturally, like whatever that means. If you want to have good sex, you actually have to talk about it. Discussing desires, boundaries, and preferences openly with your partner is crucial. Research shows that couples who communicate effectively about sex report higher sexual satisfaction. It's also important to have a non-judgmental feedback loop. So giving and receiving feedback during and after sex helps partners understand each other's needs and improve future encounters. If you're the giver of feedback, make sure that you use an inviting tone and give instructive, clear feedback. So for example, don't give feedback that is like, you're a bad kisser. That can induce shame in a person and doesn't help them to become what you think of as a good kisser. Instead, say something like, I would prefer it if you were more gentle with your tongue. When you push it towards my throat, it's uncomfortable. And if you're feeling it, you can even practice the feedback because as we know, practice makes perfect. When you get feedback, don't take it as I'm doing it wrong. Look at it as this person wants to have more sex with me and they're invested in us both having a good time. For many people, intimacy and bonding is necessary. Emotional closeness and intimacy often enhance sexual satisfaction. Studies suggest that couples who feel emotionally connected tend to have more fulfilling sex lives. Vulnerability also ties into this. Being emotionally vulnerable and open with your partner can deepen the connection, which often translates into better sex. Find ways to bond with your partner. Did you stop getting to know them? Simply because you've been together for 3 years doesn't mean that there isn't anything more to know about them. Many of the couples I've worked with have enjoyed implementing question cards into their relationship to reignite the exploration spark. These question cards either present actual questions in different topic areas or give a conversation starter or prompt. There are dozens of versions of these, but one that I really enjoy is Where Should We Begin by relationship therapist Esther Perel. Mindfulness is also key when it comes to sex. And I know what you're thinking. How does she link mindfulness to my sexy time? Not my fault. Facts are facts. And mindfulness makes everything better. Being present in the moment rather than being distracted can lead to a more fulfilling sexual experience. Mindfulness practices have been shown to improve sexual satisfaction and reduce anxiety. In fact, when I work with couples, one of the things that I remind them of is that it's often our minds that gets in the way of us having enjoyable sex. This can be distractions, performance anxiety, body image issues, etc. Improving our mindfulness abilities and allowing ourselves to focus on sensation rather than our anxiety-provoking thoughts gets us locked in to feeling good. Paying attention to physical sensations without judgment or distraction can enhance pleasure. And I have seen mindfulness take people from an existence of having difficulty getting into the mood or having an orgasm to reporting to me that they're having the best sex of their lives. When Olivia Newton-John was singing Let's Get Physical, she really knew what she was talking about. If you want to get it up, you have to start by getting into the gym. Regular physical activity improves circulation, stamina, and overall health, which are important for having a healthy sex life. Eating a balanced diet that supports cardiovascular health can improve sexual function, and adequate sleep is essential for maintaining libido and energy levels. You may have already heard this before, but as stress goes up, libidos can often go down. If your stress levels are too high, it can lead to less sex or less satisfying sex overall. Getting your stress in check will make a difference. Managing stress through relaxation techniques like deep breathing, yoga, and meditation can improve sexual function and satisfaction. The majority of you haven't taken sexual education since you were in the 6th grade, and we all know that wasn't the most informative class. Nearly every adult that I speak to has little to no usable sexual education. Understanding the mechanics of sex, anatomy, and what typically leads to pleasure can empower people to have better sexual experiences. It also aids in debunking myths. Educating yourself about common sexual myths can reduce performance anxiety and increase satisfaction. I can't emphasize this enough. The number of times I've had someone come into my office and think that their boyfriend's average-sized penis could somehow break their vagina, or a male-identified person who thinks that they're supposed to have an erection at the drop of a hat and last for 12 hours, illustrates to me that we are all missing out on some fundamental sexual education. At times, you might need medical or therapeutic intervention. Issues like erectile dysfunction, lack of desire, or pain during sex can have both medical and psychological underpinnings. Secondarily, many of us have grown up in families that didn't encourage us to be sex positive. So that mindset can carry over into adulthood, and this is even if we're married with 3 kids. Engaging in sex therapy, either solo or as a couple, can help you explore any unwanted hangups you have and focus on the sex life that you actually want. Don't be afraid to improve your life in all ways, including the wet and wild varieties. If you have a sex and relationship question that you'd like for me to cover, let me know. You can contact me via Instagram at KindMindPsych or via my email at psychologist@quickanddirtytips.com. The Savvy Psychologist is a Quick and Dirty Tips podcast. It's audio engineered by Steve Rickyberg with script editing by Brandon Getchus. Our podcast and advertising operations specialist is Morgan Christensen. Our digital operations specialist is Holly Hutchings. And our marketing and publicity associate is Davina Tomlin. Follow Savvy Psychologist on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. That's all for this episode of Savvy Psychologist. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.